Hello everybody, my name is Joshua and I would like to welcome you back to another episode of Coffee, Cats, and King, where we will discuss books, both new and old. I will share with you pictures of my cats who will make you wish they were your cats, and I will drink enough coffee for me and everybody watching. So, I'm still using my thank you for being my uncle mug that my lovely little niece got me because this thing is awesome. I'm here today with a follow-up to my 10 underrated horror movie hidden gems. So this is sort of a part 2, and honestly, there's probably going to be a part 3, part 4, etc. in the future. So I'm going to do the same way that I did there, give you the name of the movie, the year it came out, give you some of the places that you can watch it, because I tried to make them easily accessible, and then give a little synopsis. I said these are all movies that you should be able to watch fairly easily. Not going to talk about some, crazy, obscure thing that you have to, find somewhere on the dark web and hope that the police don't raid your house because you've now acquired a copy. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay. First movie that I want to talk about is 1992's Ghostwatch. And Ghostwatch is available on Shudder or Internet Archive for free. If you have a Shudder account, of course. If not, just watch it on Internet Archive and it'll be free as well. Ghostwatch was this really cool mockumentary that was done back in the day. It was actually a BBC One Halloween special. So they did this as if it were a live newscast. And so it's supposed to be one of the reporters going to this house that this family lives in that, they say is haunted. And so everything supposedly was done in real time in front of a live studio audience. This, of course, was not the case, but at the time, for those watching it at home on the TV, they thought that this was live. They thought this stuff was happening, and it really freaked people out. It was actually banned for a long time in a lot of places. So, this movie is very effective. It's really cool. Obviously, you are going in with the knowledge that this is all false. But, just try and put yourselves in the shoes of these people, because really, nothing like this was done since the time of radio and the whole War of the Worlds retelling. So, this was kind of the updated modern version of that, and it was super cool. The movie's very effective. It's a great movie on its own, even without knowing the backstory. After that, I'm going to talk about the 1999 movie Urban Legend. Urban Legend is available for free on Tubi TV, Tubi. You can look it up online. It's free to make an account, free to watch all those movies and stuff they have on there. If you feel the need to pay for some reason, you can go to Amazon or YouTube and pay $3 to watch the movie. Urban Legend is about a New England college that suddenly has this rash of murders, and all the murders, all the deaths seem to have something to do with a famous urban legend. So there's some kids that are killed while necking, and there's a hook hanging on the door. Just taking all those old urban legends that we all know and love, and this killer is turning them into his little motif. So it's a neat movie for that reason. It's very reminiscent of Scream, but with that cool little twist. It's not as much scary as it is just an entertaining sort of movie. After that, I'm going to talk about a movie that I thought was genuinely pretty scary when I watched it for the first time, and that is 2003's Darkness Falls. Darkness Falls is available to watch on Tubi TV, or once again, if you feel the need to pay, you can pay $4 to watch it on YouTube or Vudu. And Darkness Falls is about this little town called Darkness Falls that 150 years previously, they lynched this woman, said she was a witch and that she had kidnapped these kids. Of course, a couple days after they lynch her, the kids show up safe and sound. But, unfortunately for them, her spirit has now decided to haunt this town. And she specifically goes after the children. So how do you get close to children? Well, you pretend to be the Tooth Fairy. So, in Darkness Falls, a child puts a tooth under his bed, and the Tooth Fairy comes and slaughters his family. And believe me, just the initial scene with the main character as a child going through this experience, surviving the experience, is just such a traumatic, terrifying thing, you know? I don't know about you, but as a child, I always thought it was super creepy that this winged being was going to come in, break into my room, steal my teeth, and then give me copper or silver coins for it. So, kind of takes that concept and rolls with it. The movie is definitely not perfect. It was made on a very low budget. There's actually a rather famous continuity error in the film, but aside from that, it's really super effective. Very creepy, very original. I love this movie. I've watched it many, many times, and I highly suggest that you do as well. Okay, next up, I'm going to talk about an older film. This is 1978's House of the Dead. And for some reason, this was also subtitled as Alien Zone, which is super weird because it has nothing to do with aliens. Aliens are not present. Aliens are not talked about. Nothing at all to do with aliens. So, House of the Dead, but you might have to look it up under Alien Zone. You can watch this for free on Tubi. And this is an anthology-style horror film, which I personally love. The main overall arcing story to put all these together, though, is a man who takes a taxi. He gets dropped off at the wrong place in a heavy rainstorm, and the only place that he can find to sort of take cover is with this man who allows him in, who turns out to be this super creepy mortician. The mortician decides what better way to pass the time than to tell this gentleman the stories of some of the dead people that I have in here currently. It has kind of a Tales from the Crypt vibe to it. Really cool, very effective for how old it is, and just an overall very enjoyable film that not a lot of people have watched. Okay, I'm going to talk about a movie now that is much younger than the last one. This is a 2010 film titled Yellowbrickroad. And Yellowbrickroad, all one word in this case. This can be watched on Amazon Prime, or again, if you want to pay, go to YouTube or Vudu, pay $3. Yellowbrickroad is about a group of explorers who decide they're going to explore this mysterious forest where back in 1940, this entire New Hampshire town disappeared from without warning. No one knows what happened to them. So, you know, think Lost Colony of Roanoke type deal, but in 1940. So these guys decide they're going to go there, they're going to explore, and they're going to figure out what the heck happened. Cue the insanity, because this movie is insane. Some people may not like it because it has one of those endings that is very much ambiguous, very much open for interpretation. That said, I love this movie. I watched it many times. There's some really gory moments that are very shocking. You don't expect them, and it just really throws you off and amps up the horror. But very well done, very effective, and just not something that a lot of people talk about. You know, I had to get something in here with some sort of killer toy or doll, so here we go. This is 2007's Dead Silence. Just the movie poster alone will probably freak some of you out. I hope it does. Unfortunately, this is the only movie on this list that there is no way to watch it for free. You can pretty much go to any of the major platforms, though, YouTube, Vudu, Amazon, whatever, pay $4 to watch it. I suggest you do, because this is an excellent film. This is about a man named Jamie. His wife is mysteriously murdered, very brutally murdered, in fact, and he doesn't know what's going on. He thinks he can find answers, though, by traveling back to their hometown of Ravensfair, where he learns about this woman named Mary Shaw. And Mary Shaw was a ventriloquist back in the day who was tortured and murdered by the townspeople. You'll learn why and all that. But the important part here is that this movie is jam-packed with creepy ventriloquist dolls. These things are vicious. These things are deadly. The movie is extremely atmospheric and has a twist that, what had happened, I just kind of sat back in my seat and pulled it back, had to rewatch that part. And I mean, it was so cool. I love that twist they threw in there. It's a great movie. If you're into the whole killer doll, if you think ventriloquist dolls are creepy, watch this and you'll see just how creepy they can be. Okay, moving on. This is a 1993 film. Some of you may be familiar with this. Those of you who are at all interested in extraterrestrials probably are familiar with this movie. This is Fire in the Sky. Fire in the Sky is available to watch on Crackle or Prime, Amazon Prime for free, or you can go to YouTube or Vudu and pay $3. Fire in the Sky, it occurs in 1975. 5 men are driving home after work. They see lights in the sky. One of them gets out to investigate and is abducted. The other men go back to town. They're freaking out. They're trying to tell the sheriff and the people there what's going on. And everyone is pretty sure that they have murdered this man and buried his body somewhere. Well, 5 days later, he shows up again, and he tells us the tale of his abduction by aliens. This movie has what is very possibly the most realistic and most uncomfortable alien abduction scene ever. And yes, I realize that this movie is almost 30 years old, but nothing has come close to this yet. Okay? Believe me when I tell you that when you get to the scene where these aliens are messing with this guy, it is going to make you squirm in your skin. It is so effective, it is so disturbing, and so realistic. And man, for those of us who are believers in aliens, those of us who think extraterrestrials might be out there, this is exactly what we're afraid of, honestly. For the rest of you, this is just a really, really effective movie. Great stuff, despite being 30 years old. Yeah, give it a watch. Moving on, I have the newest movie on this list, and again, this is one that more people have probably watched because it's been popularized in certain little corners of the internet. This is 2014's Clown. This is available on Tubi, Pluto, and Amazon Prime, all for free, so no excuses not to watch it. This is about a man who dresses up in an old clown costume he finds for his son's birthday. All goes well, but then after the birthday party, he can't seem to get the suit off. He can't get the makeup off. He can't get the prosthetics off. And very quickly thereafter, the horror ramps up, and you realize that there is much more to this thing than just some old dinky clown costume. So, I don't think I need to say it. Obviously, those of you who are afraid of clowns, this movie is going to freak you out. So, in fact, you might not even want to watch it. Those of you who are fascinated by this sort of thing, you're going to love it. It is a very original take on a creepy clown. It's not the most effective movie, but there's just some really original things going on there. Great stuff. I highly suggest it. Okay, moving on. 2 movies left. This is the oldest movie on the list. This is 1977's Dead of Night. Dead of Night is another horror anthology style film. This has 3 more stories. They are not interconnected in any way, other than the fact that they are all written by the late, great Richard Matheson. And for those of us who are in the horror book community, we should all know that name, all love that name. Those of you that don't, please go pick up a copy of something that he wrote. So, the 3 stories in this film, it features a time-traveling car, a Dracula-esque story, and a story about a grieving mother who gets her son back, only to realize that maybe she was better off beforehand. Like I said, all these stories were written by Richard Matheson, which is fantastic. I had no idea about this little gem of a movie. I was so excited to pick it up. It's awesome. Again, has that great feel of, the old Twilight Zone and Tales from the Crypt kind of style. I just absolutely loved every second of it. I highly suggest it to horror fans because this is some of Matheson's writing that, a lot of people aren't familiar with. And you're getting to see it in movie form, so that's really cool. And the final film today is one of my favorite films of all time. It is definitely in my top 10 period for horror films, and that is 2001's Frailty. Frailty is available to watch for free on Tubi, Vudu, and Prime, so no excuses not to watch it. And Frailty is about a man who wakes up one day and believes that God has given him a mission to destroy demons. And these demons have manifested themselves inside people around him. Only he can see them for what they truly are. He has two boys. One of them is sort of a teenager, the other is much younger. And so he kind of slowly ropes them in on this, and his own insanity slowly increases throughout. But you really are focused more on the kids and on the older child in particular as he's watching the craziness in his father ramp up, So he forces them to go out and dig this building for him where he can kill the demons. He starts taking them out on hunts. And obviously for the kids, it's absolutely traumatic because they're just seeing people. But their father is telling them the story of how these people are demons and they're evil and they need to be destroyed. And slowly, the young child starts to believe him. And it is up to the older one to try and stop this, to try and stop his father from just straight out murdering people. So it is such a great movie for a million different reasons. It is genuinely scary because you don't know what the heck is going on. You are right in the same realm as this young teenager. All you know is this man suddenly snaps one day. You don't know why, but you are very fearful for his kids, very fearful for everyone around him. So very effective in that realm, very scary. It is not overly gory or anything like that, but it does not shy away from the violence as well. And just an incredibly, incredibly effective film. Like I said, this is easily in my top 10 horror films, and I highly suggest that you guys watch it. So, there you go. That's 10 more underrated horror movie hidden gems. Like I said, you can think of this as a part 2, and I can promise you there's going to be a part 3, part 4, etc. in the future, because I love doing these films. I think it's really entertaining, and I want more people to see these awesome films that just go under the radar for some reason. So, as always, thank you all for watching. I'm going to throw some cat footage in there because we got to have our cats. What are you doing, you silly?
You like that paper?
What are you doing?
He's like, what?
Okay. I thank you. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Have a great day tomorrow. Stay positive, stay strong, and read or watch some horror, guys. Cheers.